The views and opinions expressed on Lifeguards Off Duty are those of its hosts and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar, the Jersey Shore #1 lifeguard-themed video podcast.
Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook Live. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever streaming service you prefer.
If you would like to contact us, send an email to drkachmar@icloud.com. Follow us on Instagram at lg.association.
All right, let's get started.
Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
She said they're gonna lock you up for killing me tonight. And then I bit her lip just a little bit harder. Well, I was so sure it wasn't real. But she's afraid of ghosts. Now I'm sleeping in her room.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to Lifeguards Off Duty. Today's date is June the 14th, the year of our Lord,
And Flag Day.
2022. Tyler,
Sean said it's also National Bourbon Day.
Yes, it's good. Can you get rid of the notes that you have opened up, please? Anyway, yeah, it hurts just to get, yeah, it does. So anyway, we want to say hello today and thank you for tuning in. We're a video podcast, Lifeguards Off Duty, and we are on multiple platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, and Facebook. And you could get us on Instagram. If you want to send us an email, you could give us an email at drkachmar@icloud.com. So we are in the second week of June now, and we've had how many drownings in New Jersey?
Seven in New Jersey.
7 drownings, 2 last night, which is really tragic. We're going to talk about them. One was a 20-year-old. 27 was he? In Belmar, New Jersey. And the other one was a woman in, let's go to whiteboard, a woman in Island Beach State Park. I put about 58. We're not sure. They found her body this morning.
They did.
Yeah. I was told by the fire department.
Yeah, so Nico, obviously, who works with us, was on that search last night, and he said he was up till 3 a.m. looking for her, exhausted.
I was told that what happened there, and this is from the people on the scene, that they were camping with a tent, and they were closing up their tent, and it was around 9 o'clock at night, and she supposedly was going to go in the water, I don't know, for whatever reason, cool off, have,
I heard to pee.
Yeah. And he went and took all the stuff to the car, and he couldn't find her. So this is what it is right now. The other one's
so scary.
That's so terrifying,
yeah.
man.
I don't know what happened with the other one.
No, but imagine like going to just put stuff away, like looking for a second, and like your wife is gone.
Yeah.
Like not even seeing her struggle.
Yeah,
Just-
nothing.
Yeah. Well, the other one,
Just
the
gone.
other one was somebody was telling me there was a bunch of kids on the jetty in Belmar. There was no lifeguards
Yeah.
on duty. There was no lifeguards here also in Island Beach State Park. It was no at night, and they were in an area that's not guarded anyway. It's people are fishing.
and we just want to be careful about because we don't know exactly what happened with any of these.
Right. We know they're
and
dead. We know they drowned.
yeah.
We know they're
But
they're
we
dead.
wanna
We,
be- yeah.
we don't think we
Yeah.
know they're dead,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
don't know what was the cause.
We want to be clear that we're trying to gather this
Right,
information
right.
kind of as we go.
Can you try to show us the?
So yeah, we have a
your-
video
of-
from Island Beach
let's see
last
if
night,
we'll,
and this is actually.
From the
I think this was a joint operation, but our Seaside Heights guys are in here as well.
See if you get
I
some.
don't think
Oh,
we're
there's the
gonna have any
there was the
audio.
volume. You try it again.
So that's we're looking at, they have a drone now they use for recovery and other searches.
And you can see they just the whole beach is lit up, with cherries, and they got this drone flying in the air.
In IBSP, which is so dark.
It's pitch dark there
Usually.
at nighttime, and the water looks black, and they're just out there waiting in that line doing a line search and
And the water was
looking for this
cold. What
girl.
was the temperature?
And the water was cold. I mean, the water was 59 degrees this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
Even after it
It's
was
cold.
blowing northeast for half the day, and it was still freezing.
So this is footage from last night.
Yeah.
They were searching. Yeah.
So and you know, one of these guys in this video is our own Nico DeVoe, who
Has been on the show.
Yeah, and you know, like he was out there till 3 a.m. and he had to show up in Lifeguard this morning.
Try it up there. You hit the top. See, this says 2, the I right there.
That's just how many people are watching.
Oh, I thought that might have been. We're having problems with the audio. I don't know why it's not coming through.
It's always a work in progress.
Yeah, well, it's sad. And they tried, but at least they recovered the body this morning, and I think that's important. You could get closure for the family, so that's a good thing. That was the one. What do we know about the one in Belmar? Anybody do any research on that?
As far as what we can gather, so I'll pull up my fact sheet here. 27-year-old guy, you know, my age. It was a bunch of them playing around on a jetty, the article we read said rocks, so we're kind of just assuming that that's a jetty. Multiple fell off. Lifeguards performed a rescue. That's why it's not clear.
But
if
they weren't
on
on
duty.
I think they were doing
duty.
maintenance. They were doing
probably
maintenance.
Setting up.
And
Thank God they were doing maintenance, right?
One of
Yeah.
the friends was rescued.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got back to shore, they looked around and said, "Oh my God, so and so is missing." And then they went out and then they found this young man's body.
Wow, that's sad.
So Sean and I were talking about this last night when we kind of found out this. It was actually probably right around when you called. Did you call me when you found out about it last night? Like
yeah,
around
I
11?
was actually operating in the operating room 1:30 a.m. And so what happened? I was up and I was getting text by Timmy Hartman from chief of Seagirt, and so I forget. I got multiple people text me about the drowning in Belmar. I knew that earlier, but the one in Island Beach State Park, that was evolving at 11, 12 at night.
Yeah. So and you know, Sean and I were trying to figure out like what could have happened, and the kind of couple scenarios we came up with was one, like we know like jetties, like they're slippery, they have, you know, all types of like sea goo all over them. He might have fell off, hit his head. Or we also know that often off of jetties and piers you see pretty strong rip currents.
Yeah.
Or it could have been a combination of both.
Right. We don't have jetties at our beach, so we don't really have to work them. But I've worked beaches that have jetties. Lavalette was one. Now with the beach replenishment, they don't have them. But you're absolutely right. I mean, we don't let anybody go into jetties. There's strong rip currents next to the jetty. But also you could fall in. And if you go out the jetty, the further you go out, the deeper the water is. You fall off, you could be in 10 foot of water.
Yeah.
And the water's freezing cold. Again, who knows what happened. The autopsy will tell. But the individual is dead. And
I mean,
it's
listen,
sad.
we did, you know, some box swims yesterday for training, and you know, you get in that water, and like 10 strokes in, and like your chest is tightening up, and, you know, and that's why it's important that we train. Did you swim yesterday?
I did not swim yesterday.
It was bad,
Yeah,
dude.
that's why we're swimming in the bay. I swam in the bay this morning.
And that's,
It was
you
about
know, and that's why
75.
we train for that stuff, because like if us who are used to these, like being in this type of water, if you know I'm going out there and my chest is tightening up, like think about what's going to happen to someone who's like susceptible to panicking in a situation like that.
Catch,
Yeah.
you helped recover a body.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What was that like?
More than once.
You were working with the Heights at this time on this.
Yeah, the one in Seaside Heights. This was 20 years ago. It was so Ortley Beach is above us by about a mile, and there's a bar restaurant. It's not there anymore. It was
The Ocean
called
Club?
no, it's called the Surf Club.
The surf club. Yes.
You were actually telling me, which I think is weird, along the East Coast, bodies would travel south when I assumed north.
No. Well, you would think, because usually during the day there's a southeast blow. The predominant swell is from the south to the north.
Yeah.
But the shore current is from north to south.
That's
and
interesting.
And I've seen that
Yeah.
multiple times with bodies floating up. There was and I noticed, because I can tell you historically, there was one where a guy was doing helicopter rides up in Belmar, Brielle, somewhere. He's supposedly a very accomplished helicopter pilot. And they crashed. And I know at least 2 children were killed, and their bodies floated up past south of us in Seaside Park. And the kid in Ortley who drowned, his body floated up right on our northern beach, which is Herring Avenue Street. So to answer your question about that, what happened was we have the north end and south end, and I remember it like it happened yesterday, because you don't forget about these things. The lifeguards called me up and they said they saw something in the water, and actually it was.
How old were you about?
I don't know. Let me see.
Or
20.
even years
I was probably.
working.
I was still older then. I was still older than you. I was about 40 probably. Because I'm like 92. But what happened is it was actually I remember the lifeguards. I knew who they was. It was a female lifeguard, and I remember the kid. He was a former New York City police officer. So they go. Hey, we see something in the water. We think it's a body. I'm like, well, is it or not? And they weren't sure. So I went down. It was on the north end, and you could see with a pair of binoculars. You could see that there was no shirt on, and the body had jeans on. Blue denim jeans, and the body was flaccid. So it was no more rigor. And I believe it was probably about a week now that the person, maybe a little bit longer, was missing. Usually it takes about 2 weeks. This is debatable, but the body will start to build up gases and float to the top.
Yeah, and then expand.
Load it up, yeah.
Bloat.
And so
that's why the mobsters
tie you down.
tie you down, right?
So the patient. I mean, the body was right there, and we called the police, and they didn't want us to rescue the body. We waited for the coroner, and it floated in eventually. And I think I eventually, grabbed it, and another lifeguard and I pulled the body up. And there was a certain level of
Surreal.
No, I've seen. I saw a lot of dead bodies. I saw people come dead on arrival. I seen people die right in front of me. I've operated on people when I was doing my residency who never made it through the operation. You see them in recovery and they die. Yeah, that wasn't. I've seen horrible people just horribly, with a car accident. You have gunshots and everything. Their heads split open. That wasn't that bad, but it was the tragedy of it is that it was preventable. Number one, number two, he did have a lot of loss of tissue because the crabs start eating, the flesh and everything. Yeah, it's gross. And I remember he had, just like jewelry on, and it was sad. It was sad. It was really sad. The other one was the one where my ex-wife was with her sister in Island Beach State Park. Right around now, a day like today, the lifeguards were not on duty, but they were doing maintenance. And you have these pavilions there. And a guy got in trouble, and he was screaming. And the whole beach was watching this guy drown. And I remember, my wife telling me about it. I mean, everybody was traumatized. And, to watch somebody scream and drown, nobody knew what to do. Nobody, I don't think, had the ability to save him. The time the lifeguards got down, he was submerged. They did find him, and I don't know if they did CPR. I don't remember exactly how long it took to find him, but when I got there, because my wife couldn't even drive, the body was out in front, and they had the coroner pronounced him, and it was really sad. And so it's tough when you see this. I mean, you were involved in it.
I mean, yeah,
Lavalette. That was 2 years. Last year. That was last summer, right?
Last summer.
Yeah, so you saw
2 Septembers ago.
2 September. So you
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, that's like your worst nightmare.
Yeah. Well, you saw a dead body, and that guy was dead.
As a lifeguard, like, to be doing CPR,
That is literally worst case scenario.
Yeah,
it's worst case scenario, and like, thank God, like, no one was at fault there.
I did CPR. You talk about CPR. I've done CPR many times in the hospital, but on the beach probably about 7, 8 times, and rarely does anybody live. Unless they're young and you get them right out of the water real quick. But most of the CPR I've done weren't drowned victims; they were heart attack. And when they have a myocardial infarction, they call it a STEMI. I mean, these people, it's very hard to recover. But I don't know if you guys were working when I took care of the lady on the boardwalk, and I shocked her 3 times, and she made it. And that was such an amazing thing, because that's about 10% of the time, but people who drown, it's a whole different story. So so we have that. There was 2 tragedies. That was yesterday. In the beginning of the week, there was another tragedy in a place called Bayonne, New Jersey. And the reason why I bring this up is I grew up there. So let's go to my iPad. Yeah. So this just happened. Let me see. This was published June 10th. Okay. So this is 2 teenage brothers, 16 and 19, drowned in front of their 11-year-old sister at a New Jersey school swimming pool while 3 lifeguards were on duty. Now, I don't know if the lifeguards were, right there, because there was 2 pools. You read the article here, and I want to ask you guys, because both you guys work at a pool. Basically, it says here that these individuals, two brothers, were reportedly reportedly swimming. Let me read this up. Were reportedly swimming. Were reportedly swim. Sorry, guys.
You're good. When there are
Right, here you go. Reportedly swimming in a closed-off dive pool instead of the main swimming area at Lincoln Community Schools public swimming pool in Bayonne, New Jersey. For people who don't know, Bayonne, New Jersey is sandwiched between basically Staten Island and Jersey City.
And it's where George R.R. Martin is from. I feel like your age groups overlap. Did you know him or hear about him?
No.
Do you know who that is?
R.R. Martin?
Yeah.
That's
He's
such
from
a weird fact for you to know.
He's from
Right.
Bayonne.
Yeah, I didn't know.
He's the guy who wrote Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Right. There's a
I
lot.
get him and Tolkien confused.
Right.
He
There,
definitely
there was
did
a
that.
lot of people. So yeah, no, I don't know. But the 3 lifeguards on duty were monitoring the community swim in the main area, but noticed that 2 boys were in distress and able to resurface in the smaller but deeper
Yeah.
pool.
So before you answer this, first of all, if there's 3 lifeguards, right? Would those 3 lifeguards be on duty all at the same time, or do you rotate? Well, this
That's
is
number
tough
one
to
I wanna
comment
answer.
on because
They could.
every pool
here's
is going to be doing
pictures
it
of these poor
differently.
kids. Yeah, go ahead. So tell me what you think.
Like,
It's
Like
it's
you
a weird
said.
thing. It's about the volume of the pool pertains to how many guards need to be on duty at a given time. I don't know it off the
Can
top
you
of my
switch
head.
us back, Tyler, or give us? Yeah.
I don't know it off the top of my head, like what the volume is, but like per how much water and the pool can take depends on how many lifeguards need to be present
At one time.
to have it people like using the whole pool.
so
Here, let me
and
show you a
also,
picture. Let me
like,
show you a picture.
also-
Can you put the picture back on? Here's a picture of the pool. There it is, right there.
Yeah, it's a big
All right,
pool.
so what we're looking at right now is we have what looks like in the foreground the diving pool that we're talking about, and in the background behind that, literally separated by what looks like a 3-foot barrier wall, there's the main pool. So my first thought was, what type of field of view do these lifeguards have in terms of like if they're watching this main pool, can they see the dive pool? Based on this picture, it looks like they can, right?
Yeah.
Which way were they facing? Like you said, was one of them on break? Why were none of them monitoring people possibly going in and out of this pool?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions that are going to be asked of these guys. We can't sit here and make any type of judgment, right? We don't know.
No,
we don't know
no,
how quickly
no,
these
no,
kids because
no,
according to that article, right? These lifeguards noticed them while they were still in distress.
They
So we
weren't
don't know
supposed to
how
be in that
quickly
part
they
of the
went
pool.
down.
They weren't supposed to be part of that pool.
They
That's,
could have jumped in and immediately drowned. Like
Right.
that can happen.
Right. They didn't think. Yeah. Listen,
And the
we're not-
lifeguards respond. They saw
right.
it and they respond. So we can't like say like, oh, there was a mistake made here with any type of like confidence.
I think this one is going to be investigated because we did a bunch of shows, and unfortunately, a lot of the lawsuits and the criminal charges that were brought against lifeguards were pool lifeguards, and I think it's because there's a lot of tighter shall kind of rules in a pool.
According to Chip Moore, he's not affiliated with the Red Cross, but the language used by the USLA is deliberately like
Vague.
more vague and suggestive as compared to Red Cross is, from my experience being a pool guard, it feels more strict. I've never read like the bylaws or whatever they have myself, but I know what they ask of us, and it feels a lot more strict. It feels like if something happens, that there's a very specific way that they want you to deal with it. And this is the thing that Chip talked about, where that could come bite you.
Right.
So I mean, and this all remains to be seen. I don't think we should like say like, oh, we think they're gonna get sued. We don't know what's gonna happen.
No. Let's
haven't
move.
seen
Yeah,
video of it.
Yeah. No.
you
Listen,
know.
we all know that. So let's go. Let's move on to the next thing here. And I agree with you. This is another drowning. This was 2 teens drowned while swimming in Jamaica Bay, New York's cops say. So Jamaica Bay, I've been there. This is again June 10th. And what's interesting about this was that if you read the article, here's the, can you pull it up before, let me hold it on, put it on hold. Ready? There you go. See if we get any volume here.
So here we have
yeah,
a
so they're ready to
group
doing
of
CPR.
It's a fire department EMS team doing CPR on a beachfront on a guy on a backboard.
Now these are two kids.
Is that FDNY?
Yeah. And so what they're doing is, this is an interesting thing. What they're doing, they're trying to bring them, and they're doing it CPR. And this is something, a good learning technique. You know,
As they're moving him.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have done that. Again, I don't want to criticize anybody, but a lot of times what I would have done is you try to do CPR, put him on the gurney, and then never stop the CPR.
So what they were doing was, in between rounds, they were dragging him quickly.
I would have
kept him stationary.
It's a tough one. You really don't want to stop. But listen, the point is that if somebody's in the water, there's a place where you got to get them out. You know, it's hard. What are you going to do? You have to continue on doing CPR. But that's another one. That was two teenagers there, Jamaica Bay. What they said in the article, what was interesting, what I thought was really interesting, is that they said that they were on a sandbar, and the sandbar broke. And I don't think that's the case.
Is Jamaica Bay like a surf zone, or is it like is it a bay?
Yeah, I've never been. I don't know the.
I think what happened is that they were on a sandbar, and we can't really. It's hard for us to explain this to people, but they were on a sandbar, and they probably walked off the sandbar to the right or left and fell into the hole.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't see, unless there's surf, how's a sandbar going to break? Unless broke it themselves.
Listen, you'd have to have 6-7 foot swells in a hurricane. No, I think what they were trying to explain is that the kids were on a sandbar one minute, next minute they were not on a sandbar, so they walked off.
Have you ever seen this happen? So,
I've seen the sandbar break, though. I've seen
one of my senior guards pointed something out to me that I've never seen personally, but I know it makes sense, and I know it's happened on our beach, just like not the beach I was guarding. When you have a very large group of people on a sandbar, and then you go to move them all at once, all of their feet pulling out of the sand kind of can cause the sandbar to break.
That's bullshit. No, I don't believe that in a minute.
You don't think so?
No. I tell you what. Listen. Here's what I think is. I've seen sandbars where 2 times in my life that I've seen it, and I've seen it personally. It's usually you've had a big hurricane storm, and it's been pounding, and you'll start to let people back out after, say, a few days, and you got a whole bunch of people on a sandbar, and the back of the sandbar probably has a very high cut. You know what I'm saying? It's not a gradual, because most of the sandbars, you think about it as a plateau. It's high, and then it gradually
the berm went after a big storm. Yeah,
and so you had a deep cut, and we put, and I remember I was at the north end. I can tell you, quick story. I was sitting. We were in front of Kearney, and so our headquarters is right there. And I was sitting out with another lifeguard, and I wanted to let people start swimming. And I talked to the captain, because nobody was able to swim for 3-4 days because of bad weather, and it was really getting nice. And it looked like the waves were calming down. It was low tide, and there really wasn't that many more swells. Every once in a while, you might have a 4-footer coming in. And I'm like, this is fine. So we let everybody go on. Everybody's like giving us a hard time. Can we go in the water? Can we go in the water? And this is the North End, where there's a lot of family, locals. So we let them in, and everybody was on a sandbar. Everybody. I mean, people with walkers, crutches, wheelchairs. I'm being facetious, but it was everybody and their brother was out there. And I said to the rookie sitting with me, I go, this is the safest place right now in the sandbar, right? But what I did is I put another lifeguard. We had a 3-man stand. I put him out there on a sandbar with a can, because I knew it was still, the ocean was kind of still a little rough, and we opened up the stand next to us. We moved the stand a little bit closer, so we kind of had 2 stands and probably 5-6 lifeguards. And I'm sitting there, and maybe about a half hour goes by. Every once in a while, you get a few swells, and then I'm looking. I'm not making this up. I'm looking, and I see out in the ocean like a whole set of waves coming. Like, I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
We call those bombs.
Bombs, and I could see it coming, and they're building, and they're building, and they're building, and it was about 8 or 9 waves, and it came up, and just one hit, and you couldn't do anything. You couldn't even blow the whistle. It's like a tsunami, and like the last one just bang, and everybody was gone. The whole thing was running. Now I don't know if the bar went but everybody. It was probably we rescued about 12 to 15 people. It was a lot of people in one rescue. And what we did is everybody went out. I grabbed people. I brought one person in. I was the last one to come in. It was the first one I got in, and then we were floating the cans, and we brought the jet ski in. Doug Parise actually took it from the south end, came down, and it was beautiful. Doug was really good with that. He just picked one person out, bring him to the beach, came out. That rescue was done in about 10 minutes. I'm not kidding around. It was 15 people in and out, bang, bang, bang. But
that's a long rescue.
Yeah.
In comparison to what a rescue normally is.
Yeah, I would say, but that's pretty good to pull in 15
No, for
people.
15 people, that's good. But
Nobody came close to drowning.
Longest rescue I've been on is maybe half that.
Yeah, what was nice about that was what really helped us was a kid out there, with the can. We had multiple lifeguards. We were right there. We were in the water. We kind of had our
When did the pole thing stop happening? When did people stop putting the log in the beach and a guard sitting on top of it?
Oh, we never had that. That wasn't in my day. That was in the 20s and 30s.
Okay, so that was just really
no, that was called pole.
thing?
What they used to do years ago and way before my time is after the poles, they used to put buoys. You know how like in the bay we'll put like a heavy weight on the beach and then run line out to a pole or something, or an anchor you could have, and you floaties, and people could hold on. So they used to do that in the ocean. They would take these big barrels.
They called that the lifeline.
Yeah, and they would put these buoys out there. You can see pictures of it. We have it in the book if you want to grab it.
That's what I was talking about.
And but we don't do that anymore. It's a real pain in the ass, and when you have a storm, they get all wrapped up and everything. But to
also, like people slamming into this pole and the lifeguard falling off of it.
During low tide, breaking his ankle.
If you look at a lot of the beaches around the world, and we do it sometimes. But we don't have bad water all the time. But if you do, you put lifeguards' assets in the ocean, either with a can, with a board, with a boat, and you're out there and you're right next to the people. And if they do get in trouble, you just stick them up. If you look at that Bondi Beach, you got people, jet skis going around. There's beaches who drive their jet ski all day long, back and forth.
Yeah, and I think like the point we're kind of rounding back to is it's with this discussion with all these unfortunate drownings recently is that you might feel like even the past couple of days, like the surf hasn't really been what we would consider intense or high risk, right? And even in a couple of those articles, it specifically said like there were low risk surf conditions, meaning that like it can all go wrong in 1 second and you can have no control over it, and we want to.
The water's cold now too.
Yeah. And we want to, acknowledge these people and express our sadness about the things that the fact that these things happens, but like water safety is absolutely no joke.
No.
And if you're going to swim, unless you've been someone who has like lived their entire life in the ocean, even then I wouldn't ever in good confidence say swim, like go ahead and swim if there's not a lifeguard.
And then
respect ocean.
You must respect the great she beast.
Right. And then let's not forget about the poor individual who died in a hole, and they dug a sand hole.
Oh, yes.
And that was 2 weeks ago in the same area in Ortley or Lavalette, a little bit of Lavalette. No lifeguards on the beach, and he dug a hole, like they say, about 10 foot deep, and it collapsed on him, and he suffocated to death.
And the
18-year-old kid.
The beach is just like any, of like nature's great wildernesses. It just so happens that like we have these houses right next to it, so we don't see it as that. But the beach is just as wild as the middle of the forest.
Yeah.
You know?
Me and
but
Ty
we treat it like we're building sandcastles.
We saw in the this writing someone did about lifeguarding, saying how the job is 99.99% positive.
So this was Captain John Boyd. He said we work in a profession where 99.99% effectiveness is still not enough.
Yeah.
So like it's a job. It's all about like the fun and like the best parts. But then when something goes wrong, these people are going to be all these 7 drownings are going to have to deal with.
I want to go back. I want to make a point. A couple things here, and that one in Jamaica where the 2 kids drowned, Jamaica Bay, and they had the individual on a sled, and they were doing CPR, and then they moved the sled and they did CPR. That's an interesting topic. We should just touch it a little bit because here's the thing. Let's just say somebody has a seizure out in the water and you swim out and they're unconscious. You know, some people say, well, you got to do CPR, put them on a board, and other people will have the philosophy or the attitude, the impression, you got to get them in as fast as you can, especially with a broken neck. You know, you got to get patients in a situation like this. These kids are on the beach. You know, it's you want to do CPR, but you got to get them off. And I think that sled is a great way to go. You know, we have I've seen also where you take a mule and you have a board on the back, a backboard. So you get the kid on the backboard. You put because you need a hard board, and you put the kid on the back of the mule, and you do CPR and you drive the mule slowly. The key, and again, every situation is different. I'm not criticizing anybody, but I want to put out there, you know, to all police, firemen, lifeguards, you really, really want to try to have uninterrupted CPR. That's the key. And get a defibrillator as soon as possible. Of course, you want to get an IV access, but if you go to all of these courses, I have advanced cardiac life support. The key that they drill home is, you know, you want to, like, less than 10 seconds of stopping CPR. What were you going to say, Sean? I'm sorry.
I think with the implementing like a moving CPR thing or anything, you just training and like not doing these things off the cuff. Like you'd want this to be procedure done. Everyone knows it. You'd want it hammered down, drilled.
You know, that's the key. And with a drowning victim, you want to try to get an airway as fast as you can and bag them. You got to get, because a lot of people who train in CPR, who most of the training, they won't really talk about bagging and getting an airway because, you know, if somebody has a heart attack or something like that, for the layperson, they want to start CPR, you know, chest compressions, and then get an AED and then, you know, try to shock them. But for a drowning victim, they're going to have water in their lungs, and they're going to have difficulty, you know, aerating, getting oxygen. So you really want to try to force air in them, open up their airway. You could get into suction and things like that. So I think that's something I just want to throw out there. The next thing is, this is a ethical problem here. And can you put my my thing on my iPad? So this is, Arizona man drowns in lake as officers watch. And the quote is, "I'm not jumping in." Let me just see if I can show this here. It's pretty interesting when you watch this here. Let me get it going here.
It sounds like the Onion article I sent you where it's like something about lifeguarding sat for an hour before.
So, can't get the volume.
Well, I can bring this up in Google.
Well, just let it go here. Don't worry about it. I'll just watch it. So it's basically, this is domestic. They're going down here. There's a guy arguing with his wife, and there's the wife, and she's like, "No, he didn't hit me." And what happens is that you watch it here. It's kind of getting dark out, right? And this is in Tampa Bay. And look at the water moving. Can you see the water moving there? I don't know if you can really see it.
It looks like there's some kind of like something spraying into it.
So the guy is over here. They go up to him, and now there's a woman cop, a male. I think there's two males and one woman. They got their. I gotta remember, here they are. Here's the guy sitting here, and the police are very mellow. They're like, "Hey, you know what's going on?" And it was all cool. The guy's like, "Are you done with me?" And they're like, "Yeah, you know, and you're free to go." And then the guy goes, "Well, I'm going to go for a swim." And so, you know, they're not hurting him or anything. So he said, he climbs over a short metal fence, and they're saying to him, "Listen, you can't go in. You're not allowed to swim in there." So he goes over the fence, and there he is now. And he says, "Well, do you want me anymore? Am I under arrest?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Well, I'm going to go for a swim." And that's what he's saying. And he starts. You can watch in a minute. You'll see him. Now the officers they're cool. They're like, "Hey, you can't go in there." And you watch the guy start swimming. He looks like he could swim. And I'm free to go. So he says, "I'm free to go." And the cop goes, the cop's got his hands folded. There's no gun or anything like that. He's like, "Hey, you know, you really shouldn't be in there. You're not allowed to be in there. You shouldn't swim there." And there's the guy swimming. Look, he looks like he could swim. See him?
Yeah, that doesn't look like the best.
Well, but he can still swim, though, you know. So what happens is, a little bit after this, he starts to drown, okay? You know, you can't see the rest of it, but there's, you could get rid of this. And so my question here is this. And we've had this problem before, the ethical thing here. Now, you got cops, they may or may not be trained to swim. They may not be able to swim themselves. They got guns on, they have uniforms. So what do you think? Now, they didn't save him. They didn't go in. They didn't take their clothes off. They didn't jump in. And the wife was yelling, but she didn't go in either.
I think at the bare minimum, they need to call someone.
Well, they did. They did. They called the services. But the time they got there, the guy was drowned.
Okay, well then,
dead.
I mean...
So what's your... Like,
personally, I'm going to go in because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you're not... Yeah, but if you're,
But we don't know if these cops even know how to swim.
So what do you think, Sean? What's the ethical... What's your judgment call?
I think him saying I'm not going to save you helps him not have to save them. But I mean, he should definitely save the guy or try. I mean, like they don't have any rescue equipment there. That's
what I mean. Like, what's he going to do when he gets to him?
Right.
He doesn't know how to float a guy that looks like he weighs 250 pounds.
So there's a little crink in the system here. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. I think it's an interesting thing.
Probably more like 220. That guy wasn't that big.
No, but here's the thing. We had a situation in our beach where at night somebody was drowning and the police came down on the beach and they took all their equipment off, their guns included, got down to their underwear and went in after this guy. And they didn't have any rescue equipment. The one officer came very close to drowning himself, very close. Also, the guns that were left on the beach could have been picked up by anybody, So
was the first thing when you said they left their guns on the beach. I was like,
well, what are you gonna do? Take them? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but you can't leave your
okay. So then you can't rescue. Okay. So then you can't rescue them. So there's a dilemma with people, police. Now, if you look at the Coast Guard, right? Coast Guard, when they come onto a scene, there's only a certain amount of people in a Coast Guard unit that is allowed to go in the water and save somebody, and that's the rescue swimmer. Everybody else is not allowed. That's not their job. Marine police may be different, but when police come onto a scene, and especially now in the summer, what do you do, and what should we do? You're gonna have every police officer trained, and then where they can have a can, where they do with their gun.
I'll always maintain this. I think that just everybody in general, like especially if you live within X amount of miles of the coast, you should be taught how to swim. Like it should be like mandatory physical education.
Yeah, but again, what do you do in a situation like this? So a lot of towns tell the police you can't go in the water. I mean, you can't make a rescue, which puts the police in a really tough situation.
That's probably just a way for the town to protect themselves.
Well, no, yeah, but you don't want
and to protect their officers.
Well, yeah, you don't want. I mean, you're gonna, you can't send a police officer into the water who is number one not trained and doesn't have the equipment.
Don't they do water training in the state troopers?
Yeah, but again, too, if you don't have the equipment, it's kind of hard.
I know a lot of cops in Seaside Heights ride around with torps in their trunk. I know. Yeah, and I know of one that actually it came in real handy on a rescue.
I think that what should be done is if you're going to be a police department, this is my opinion. This is what I would recommend. If you have a police department that has any water in your jurisdiction, I think you should try to train as many police officers as you can to make a water rescue, to have equipment. And if there's two officers, have a protocol where you take your stuff off. It's in the car. You might have a wetsuit and a can, and you can make a rescue. And I think that's probably the best you could do. And you want to hope that you have somebody patrolling in these areas that have that expertise. Unfortunately, it's a lot of people. It's not that easy to swim. And then you got that cop, whoever that is. They need to train and stay up on it. Mm-hmm. If you got to wait for the fire department to come, I mean, they could come quick, but 10 minutes it could be too late. Yeah. I think that's an interesting. I would not criticize the police because they probably have orders not to go in.
Yeah.
And you could have had 2 drownings instead of 1.
Also, that guy.
Well, he's an idiot. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say he's an idiot. I shouldn't say that.
Like,
I don't know what his mindset. Maybe he was mentally ill.
He's arguing with his wife. Maybe he
suicide.
Maybe he wanted that to be his last swim.
Yeah, and that's a tough one.
But yeah, and again, and I know most of our listeners are probably lifeguards, so I'll be preaching to the choir for the second time tonight. But just don't do it if there's not a lifeguard. It's not worth that risk.
No.
It's just not worth that risk.
No. Well, so the I have a can, in my truck. So let's just recap. So we've had. So I'm just going to go to the whiteboard here. So we've had. So drowns. We had this week
7 drownings over the past week in New Jersey alone. Because also one we didn't mention, a woman in Whiting drowned in a lake last week.
Yeah, and one
which is in the Manchester
right,
area.
and then we had the one who drowned. I mean, he didn't drown, but basically suffocated. He drowned in sand, basically.
Yeah.
In one of our local beaches, which is really sad. I think, yeah, you're right. If you could do me a favor, can you pull up the USLA USLA.gov and just go and look for the statistics on drowning without lifeguards and drowning with lifeguards. So the chance you can still drown
with lifeguards present, but
Rob's sending me a text here. So you have USLA.
Is he talking smack about
No,
our show?
I can't. It's hard. It's on my little phone. We
love you, Cap.
Yeah, go with
let's see about.
So here's the thing. I think the statistics are something like if you swim in water without lifeguards, you have like 1 in 10,000 chance of drowning, maybe 1 in 100,000. But if you go into a beach that has lifeguards, it goes up to like 1 in a million, 1 in 10 million. Here, let me see. Drowning, 5th leading cause of death in the United States. So we're reading this. Among those, 1 to 4, drowning is the 2nd leading cause of unintentional injury behind motor vehicle. This may have changed with drugs and gun violence. For everyone who dies drowning, I'm trying to look at the. Here it is, right here. This is the one I wanted. So here it is. Lifeguard agency showed the odds of swimming fatality. Odds of a swimmer fatally drowning at the beach. I can't see.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little hard for me to see from here.
Okay, so tip number 1 on USLA's website. This is actually a really useful resource. We pointed it out before.
Can you
USLA.org.
make it a little bit bigger? Tyler?
I don't know how to without.
Okay, yeah, just read it. Just read it for our...
Okay, so tip number 1 is swim near a lifeguard. Reports from lifeguard agencies nationwide consistently show that the odds of a swimmer fatally drowning at a beach protected by USLA-affiliated lifeguards is 1 in 18 million.
Wow.
Or
wow.
0.0000055%.
Now, what about...
While swimmers must take some responsibility for their own safety, lifeguards are trained to recognize hazardous conditions, blah, 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 blah. We know what lifeguards do on this show. Lifeguards work to prevent drowning and injury through constant vigilance and interaction with the swimming public.
They don't say
every day, about 10 people die from unintentional drowning. Your best insurance against drowning is learning to swim. Participation in formal swim lessons can reduce the likelihood of childhood drowning by 88%. And that's why I say every school should have mandatory physical education.
Yeah, I agree
with
with
swimming.
You. I was just trying to see
rip currents. It's not there.
I thought they would show. I wanted to see what it was if you swim with lifeguards. How much less there is. Fatalities.
But I mean, that's it. That's the number right there. Well, your chances of drowning in front of a lifeguard are 1 in 18 million.
Swim when there's a lifeguard. Everyone
swim where there's a lifeguard.
You should know this.
But yeah, it's awful. It's awful and hopefully one day people will really have this respect for the ocean and just water in general that we have.
Don't go down to that. Can you show a picture of a rip current? I want to show people. So people, I think that again, mostly hopefully people who listen to this are lifeguards. But if anybody who's watching this story, that's a good picture right there. They don't understand it. They think that
there you go.
Right, but show that one. A lot of people think that the ocean is just like a giant pool, and it's not. You have this water that's actually going from the beach straight out, and it's pulling people out, and that's where you're going to get in trouble. And we keep on going on and on and on. That if you're just so unlucky to pick the wrong place to go in the water without lifeguards, you're in big trouble. So swim where there's lifeguards. All of these drownings that we had, other than the pool one, which is tragic, was no lifeguards. And even I think this one at the pool, kind of like there was no lifeguards. If there was a designated area of the pool that nobody was watching and shouldn't be in, so basically that was an unguarded, pool,
body of water.
Right. So and nobody. So, if you notice, those kids didn't drown in the guarded pool. which is, you know, you'll have a lot to say. I think that we're already, this summer has started really bad.
Yeah, I feel like this is I don't know off the top of my head how many drownings happened this early in the year, but this feels like a lot.
This feels like a lot. And people got to remember, a lot of beaches aren't guarded during the week. I looked north today, and I didn't see lifeguards. And I saw people in the water.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. This is now we circle back to another thing that I wanted to talk about. And John Moore talked about it. We agonize over this all the time. And there's lawsuits going on right now. There's arguments back and forth. And we're seasonal. But when do you start the season?
Yeah.
And there's practicality, there's practical aspects of this, and then there's moral and there's legal. So it would be great. Listen, the water, people, you think about it, May and June. May, you could have people in the water starting in May in this area.
You know what? I'm going to put a job posting out. Any beach that's willing to pay me 12 months of the year to sit in their headquarters, I'm in.
How much?
12?
However much. Give me benefits.
Oh, okay. Oh, year round. So here's the thing. You
Give me
got
benefits. I'll keep delivering pizza on Friday nights. We'll be good.
You got people in the water in May, June, July, August, September, and even in October. But the problem is a lot of the people that we hire, a lot of lifeguards are high school kids, 16, 17, and college kids, 18, 19, 20, 21. It's hard to get these kids in the beginning of the season. In May and June, they're still in school. And then a lot of these supervisors are school teachers, so it's hard for them. And the towns need to, try to do that. And it's hard to get coverage. And so this Belmar, I don't think there was any lifeguards. They were setting up. Everybody's setting up. Lavallette's setting up now. They're going to go full time this weekend. Should they have gone sooner? Now we start Memorial Weekend. We started the Friday or the Thursday. Prior to Memorial Weekend. We were always open Memorial Weekend. It's a big, big day. But we have a inner city beach. We have rides, piers, bars, attraction. These little sleepy towns is not as bad, but they are starting to get more people and more drownings. And so there's a moral issue, an economic issue, and we're talking about it more and more. There are places up like in Belmar and Monmouth County where you have volunteer people who go and are on call. But that's, basically a recovery sometimes. You have the fire department that's there. I don't know what the answer is, but we all should be discussing this. And to me, we need to have more coverage earlier on to prevent these lives. And it may not ever happen. I mean, we have put signs up. People have their own responsibility. I've talked to people where they go, well, survival of the fittest. If they're that dumb, then let them go in. I like the kid digging a hole. I feel bad for that family. They didn't know. They were from Maine.
Idea. People have no idea. No,
you
can tell people that that's going to happen if they dig a hole and they'll still dig it because they don't believe you. That's
Yeah, I think that we're striving in this area. We're all talking about having more coverage and starting earlier and staying later. And that's another challenge. September. There's a lot of people who drown in September. A lot of beaches. Kids go back to school Labor Day, and the water is beautiful. It's warm, and you got hurricanes, and that's just the time where we need the lifeguards. And
that's when we're needed the most, and that's when everybody not bails, but everybody has to go back to their lives.
We talked to Jerry down there in Miami. We got some people out in San Diego. We talked to, and they're year round, so they don't have to deal with this issue, and they could train, and they have, they have a little bit.
The Yankees down there.
Yeah, they're the Yankees. We have to. The time we, the thing is, a lot of our beaches, time we get going, we shut down.
Yeah.
Cash, you know how much the top paid lifeguard in California gets a year?
A couple 100,000, I hear.
Or 500.
We're going.
So probably overtime. Yeah.
Give me a swim test.
500,000.
The other place where I hear there's some big money is in New York City. Go pull that up, Tyler, if you can, while I'm talking.
City Lifeguards.
Go pull out L.A. What's the top pay for L.A. lifeguards? But this is an issue in now. Already we've had all these drownings and deaths.
Holy shit.
Whoa, don't use those terrible words. Well, that might be only a few, but how many?
98 LA
that's probably like
lifeguards.
three,
98. Okay, 98.
I'm already reading it, Catch. You gotta read it over me.
I'm sorry.
98 LA lifeguards earned at least $200,000, including benefits, last year, and 20 made between $300,000 and $510,000. 37 lifeguards made between $50K and $247K.
That is what the power of a
in
union looks like.
overtime alone.
Wow.
That is what the power of a union
So
looks like.
let's go
people.
with New York.
Yeah, go. I want to see what New York is. New York's another place that's kind of wacky.
There was a good
cow,
picture on the
20
internet where it said you turn the key in your quad,
Hit that
you
right
hear the
there.
putter of the engine, and you remember that LA Lifeguard makes 500,000.
Wow.
$20 an hour. They're making more than me.
Well,
HappySwimmers.com, 3464. Who are you? Let's
Tourism is a $3 billion industry.
Sean,
in New
Sean,
Jersey.
you want to put in an application?
I can swim it.
Where's this?
This is HappySwimmers.com. They pay.
They're looking for employees.
Looks like they pay
go
pretty
do me a
well.
favor. Pull up Chicago lifeguards. What they pay? Because I know in New York City, there's some top lifeguards who get paid really good money, and they get a lot of benefits. But Chicago lifeguard, they just had a huge controversy there. I don't know, some kind of
Over lifeguards?
yeah. I don't know if it was sexual harassment or a big lawsuit, but I don't know what they get paid. So here, looking
23 to 50K per year.
yeah.
A beach lifeguard in Chicago is 22 to 44K.
Yeah, it's not,
That's insane. What are they guarding a lake out there? What's going on here?
No, but that's probably full time. That's all year round. But how
Beach
do they do it all year round?
lifeguards
I mean,
out in
let me go back. That's weird because how is that? They're not all year round, are they? Let me see. Chicago.
LBI in New Jersey is all year.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, so they're not-
beaches are in
So-
Chicago?
The Great Lakes, Illinois.
10 best beaches in Chicago: Loyola Beach, Kathy Osterman Beach, Montrose Beach, Belmont Harbor, Dog
They
Beach.
get big. They get big waves. That's like
Yeah,
an ocean. And
wind
you,
swell.
I'm telling you,
Well, I showed you guys the
they get 60, 70 foot swells.
I showed
60-foot swells.
no.
They can in big
way.
storms.
6 foot.
Go put
Six-
down.
6 foot.
No. Go
Six.
put. What's the biggest ocean swell you could have in
Yeah,
the Great
but
Lakes?
You
If
said
you're
it like
right.
it was a regular thing.
No. I mean, in the ocean
If
here.
you're right, you're gonna blow my mind.
No, maybe it's 30, 40. But we have here over 100-foot swells way out in the middle of the ocean.
Oh,
What's
for
the
sure.
30 feet.
No,
There
it
you
can
go.
only be so deep because the Great Lakes are not that deep.
Yeah.
But
Biggest wave in the highest wave ever recorded was a height of 29
30 feet. Okay.
on October 24th, 2017 on Lake Superior, just west.
I like how
west of
Cash
Mo-
says.
say so
30.
it's most storms, but no,
That's close
but
enough.
most
We'll
storms,
just
but that's
double it.
pretty. Look, most storms of the ocean world can produce average waves of 30 feet.
Let's go. Let's see if
So
there's
it's
a
about
video
the
of
same
this.
as the ocean. In other words, you can have big swell. You can have big rip currents.
Whoa.
Sorry. It's muted.
What are we doing? Are we looking at waves?
Yeah, we're looking at waves. Michigan weather.
Look at that.
All right, and that's the Great Lakes. They're big. That's a big amount of water.
That's a lot of water.
And and
Ooh, we
what
got a
crazy.
little infographic here.
Edmund Fitzgerald, that's the big one. That was wave height, 45 foot. Whack
What
that.
is Edmund Fitzgerald?
The
It was a bulk carrier that sunk. There's a song, the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's a famous song about how it sunk, and there's a lot of ships that get sink because of big storms in the Great Lakes. They're nasty. They're nasty storms.
Look at this. These guys surf in the Great Lakes.
So you get some ocean there. And I don't know how cold the water is. I've been there. It looks like the ocean. It
But
really does.
they get some lake.
Look
Is
at
that
that.
what they call it?
Look. There's
Because you know
a
how
lake.
we say we got big ocean, we got big
Look.
lake. Is that what
Yeah,
they're saying?
Look at that.
That's 10 feet, maybe.
That's still pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. And they surf there in the
fresh
middle
water?
of winter
Is that
too.
fresh water?
Well, I've said this before.
Yeah.
What's crazy about that is the waves don't have the distance to build like they do in the ocean. So the periods are like 2 or 3 seconds for like massive waves. Whereas in the ocean, it would be like 5 or 10.
It could, yeah. It's a different dynamic because
Yeah.
it's the depth, it's how long the wind blows. So what determines wave height is how long the wind
Ooh, look at
blows
this dude.
for, over what period of distance, and how hard.
Are there any like scary fish in there, like sturgeon or something?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not.
There's got to be a predator.
All I
Is that
know
right?
Yeah.
all I know is I've been there, and you would think it's the ocean. You couldn't tell. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can't see the other side of it.
My father back in the day went fishing, and he always used to tell this story. I also have the screen
Ocean
share
fishing?
covering all our faces right now. He went fishing in the Great Lakes, and he said like I couldn't see land from the boat.
Do me one favor. Put down what does Miami Beach Patrol get paid? I want to see what these guys get.
Let's find out.
We're coming for you, Jerry.
I see. What's the top pay for Miami Beach Patrol?
After this,
Because you got to remember, there's the regular guys, and then there's the
the top guys.
Yeah, see,
38K.
they're just giving you lifeguards. Put an officer. Like I want any of these beaches. Go. Maybe you just missed
Top.
it.
Look up top.
Supervisor, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't say. Doesn't have much. it depends.
Yeah, they make around 30K.
I think they make
that.
way more than that.
I'd
But
take
anyway,
that.
it's the LA. I think that there's a little shenanigan going
Unions.
on there.
That's what that is. They
Union,
unionized.
So the getting back to our situation here, and this is only the beginning of the summer, and we had the beach replenishment, basically Ocean County, and there was no sandbars. The water was the bottom was just pretty flat. Now we have sandbars and holes, and I just was looking at the beach south of us, and is that where those new bar and restaurant is. And there is a giant hole. There's 2 sandbars, probably 25, 30 yards, maybe 40 yards apart. Big, bigger than a pool, probably even more than that. That, and there's a giant run there. And that's right where everybody's drinking. That's bring your own booze.
That'll be fun.
That is going to be a hard show. And that's there. The lifeguards there, that's a contracted entity. And so I think we're going to have a rough summer. I really do.
Well, and the sandbar...
we have
in
a
front
bunch of runs.
Actually, let me try to draw it. Do you have your thing? We can finally use your thing on the iPad.
Yeah, but I'd have to pull up the picture. I'm not really.
No. Just pull up the whiteboard. I can draw what the sandbar looks like.
Let's do the catch quiz. Want to do that?
Yeah, we'll do the catch. Yeah, we have a catch quiz for you.
Here. I'll give you this. Hang on.
We're trying to catch today.
Yeah, let me see. Let me try.
Oh, you wanted a jingle? We should do a like fishing, and we like a animation of a fisherman. And it, out of the water comes catch.
Catch.
Yeah. No, and that's like a little fish that looks like catch more.
What you guys told me.
I'll get on Photoshop tonight and make a catch more fish. All right, we don't have to draw the sandbar.
No, let me just get you here. Yeah, I'm not ready for it. I have to set this up.
I caught you off guard, Let's see what you're doing on that iPad.
Yeah, here it is. Here we go.
All right,
here
give
go.
me that. Yeah.
Let me give you the fat one. And,
all right, so for anyone who's
let's
viewing right now,
let's grade Tyler's doodles.
Yeah, grade my doodles. There you go.
And then you erase it. Let me see. You erase it.
There should just be like an undo button.
No, there's an eraser here. Where's the eraser? One of these is the eraser. There you go.
All right.
Here, I'll give you this. Here, you can play around with it. Do a
All right, so I just want to draw the sandbar out in front of me.
Okay, so people who are on our podcast and
you can watch.
You got to watch us. So we're going to draw a little bit
pen.
here.
So basically, what we have is I'll go red will be our sandbar. So the sandbar you have a hole.
Nothing's coming
to the left of the sandbar. And then it's weird. It goes out on like a finger, like this, in front of Hamilton. It gets really narrow.
So where's the beach?
All right, so
that
blue.
looks like a giant scrotum with a
that looks
skinny
like balls
penis.
in it, little dick. That's what it looks like.
Come on, Tyler.
That's what it looks like.
Forget about it. This is a bad idea.
That's what the sandbar looks like.
This is terrible.
So here's you got a rip here, right?
Right.
This is all gully.
Right. And where's the beach?
Now it's kind
where's
of
the beach?
And now it's
where's the beach?
The beach is the black.
Okay.
That's the beach.
Okay. So so show what happens when the people go on that sandbar and they fall in the hole.
And the sandbar it kind of comes right up to the shoreline here.
Right.
But then it also comes.
This is fun.
Now it's got 2 balls.
There we go. We've done the whole thing.
So it's just really
interesting.
But
show where the people go on it.
I was talking to you about this when we were on my stand, kind of surveying this. So
it's backing up.
So
right.
I am, set up usually right dead center of this sandbar. So a couple of things have been happening. The main thing that's been happening is because Sean's usually sitting somewhere.
Put your picture so we can see.
The sand north of me. And what's been happening is people have been coming onto the sandbar to swim, like good swimmers. But then they try to make a beeline. So we'll have the black. They'll try to make a well, I'll use the highlighter, actually. They'll try to make a beeline back towards where they're sitting and then go through that gully and just immediately start drowning.
Right.
They don't even get sucked out. They just step off and start drowning. But here's what I wanted to point out.
That looks like a vasectomy, you just
Thank
did
you.
there.
Here's what I wanted to point out about this sandbar. This is going to break at some point.
Or a penis ring.
This the skinny dick part of the sandbar.
I have no idea.
The first time we get a big storm, it's gonna break, and that's gonna be a massive hole.
You can't show it. If you teach the kids this at roll call, you're gonna be dying. Laughing.
You're gonna get some angry phone calls from some moms.
Parents.
Yeah,
right.
I thought I signed my son up to.
Right.
Yeah, I can't show
So,
this at
so you
junior
know what you're
lifeguards,
saying
that's
though.
for sure.
You make a good point though. The sandbars are not just left to right, rectangular. They're different shapes.
That's the topography going on.
They
They
can get
go
weird.
and the water backs up and there's all kinds of things going on. So this is a good thing for lifeguards. No, really, you make a good point. I just laughing at your.
Can we make this our clip for the week?
Yeah. Are we back on? Why don't you put your? You can't put your. Okay. I was gonna say do that, but the.
Oh, we could do like something like that.
Put your.
or-
Well, I wanted to see.
nah, we don't need all
It doesn't
that.
matter.
We're here.
My point about I think you make a good point, and that point is that sandbars and the holes are not nicely packaged. They could be different sizes,
Yeah,
different angles.
You see that
and-
generic where it's like two crescents facing the opposite direction
Yeah,
all the
it's not
time.
that.
That
Yeah, it's not
that
that.
diagram.
And that would then dictate and change how you lifeguard, especially when you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the water. It's a real challenge. It's a real hard challenge to know which way to move the people, and they could fall in these gullies and the water ripping left and right and in and out. It's something that you should do every day. That's why I like a boat and a board, because and like today, I drove around. I was looking at low tide, which was around 142. I drove around and looked at all the runs. I wanted to see how the sandbars look. Now they're changing too. People in our area, the bars, we gain about 25 to 30 yards of beach during the summer. The winter, the beach gets eroded. During the summer, it builds. And then when also you get wave action, you get the bars changing. So we could, 1 week to the next week, it could be totally different.
Yeah, and a lot of those gullies that we've been dealing with have already begun to fill in.
Yeah, but then you got other ones that change. So you got to get there every day and try to read that water. It's down the Caribbean it's a little bit easier because you got coral and the sand is more fixed and it doesn't.
Who's Carl?
Carl. And they have Carl.
You got a buddy Carl that lifeguards out there?
And I asked who's that? Jerry down in Miami, because they got that hard stuff, but he says that it moves. The sand moves down here too, but our beach really moves, and you got to look at it every day. That's why I think it's good sometimes to get out there with a boat. Like I'll row the boat, and I can see the depth underneath a board. But you always got to look, and I think you make a good point that the water is going to change, and then the sandbar and the water and the current is also subject to the way the wind's blowing. If it's a hard southeast or northeast. So that's why it takes years and years and years to learn how to read the water. And if you could read the water and really understand it, you could make your job so much easier. Because I wanted to make a show about a topic called bad water. People always ask me, well, how do you know when it's bad and when it's good? I mean, we've all been there. There's days where you don't need a lifeguard. And you could even have some wave action. The water's not moving. It's not dangerous. And there's other days it's just horrible. And what makes the difference? And again, this is what we're talking about. So I think that was great.
It's fun because it's the beginning of the season now, so we're all training the younger guards and everything. The genitalia that Tyler was just drawing. I was talking to a rookie about like where the people were going to drown, and in real time while I was explaining it, there was someone going into the
trouble.
hole,
Right around the
getting
tip?
into it. Yeah.
I want to point out a comment we just got from Greg Andrus, our friend who
there he is.
wrote that beautiful book, Santy and Rescue Lifeguards of the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, I just see he's up here. Yeah.
Greg says, everyone in the ocean wants to go to the sandbar, not understanding how dangerous they really are.
You could add it to the
expand on that, how dangerous they could be.
Hit on the bottom, say add to broadcast, and you could show it. Say right there, right on the bottom, say hit that.
Nice.
Hit that.
Look at that.
There it is.
Oh, God, that's ugly. We got to
change the color.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
Yeah.
Edit. Let's play with this a little bit. No,
Just change the color.
We're gonna do this another day.
Yeah.
But yes, Greg, you're absolutely right. People just don't get it, and that's one of the things that's the battle that's the main battle we're constantly fighting as guards.
Well, I remember this one beach, which I will not name. A new captain came aboard. This is many, many years ago. Talk about that because Gregory makes a great observation. The new captain decided to put the lifeguard stands right in front of the sandbars, thinking that that's where all the people are going to be.
The sandbar?
Yeah, instead of in front of the holes. And they had a woman who was pregnant and drowned. I was there. I went down while they're doing CPR on her, and she died and the baby died. And I remember, the idea, there was a lot of controversy about where the lifeguard stands were and why he did it that way. And you got to really understand, like Greg was saying, the danger is when you fall off the sandbar and you have to learn how to work it.
A lot of people don't understand, like, your classic rip current, like we kind of showed you earlier.
Right.
That's not the only thing that's going to suck you out, because it also rips off the back of the bar.
Yes.
The gullies also pull you towards the rip. There's a lot more movement going on than just basically sandbar, hole. That's where the water is going to go out.
Tyler, have you ever seen a running rip current, like wash the bar from one end to the other? Have you ever seen that yet?
What do you mean?
So in other words, you have a sandbar, and let me see if I can do it here. And you'll actually, it's a running rip. It runs from one end. Let me see if I can here. I don't know if we still have it. So you have a running sandbar. Don't pull me up yet. Let me see. Let me erase this real quick here. And let me show you something here while we're talking. It happens. I don't know when is exactly it happens, but let me just make a point here. I'm going to be very plain here and
see this in real time.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you. So this is the
sandbar.
This is the beach. So BEACA. So this is your beach, right? And what'll happen is
it looks like waves.
Yeah, well, this is the beach right here. So people are sitting here, right? Right here, there's people sitting here, right there. Okay, there's people sitting. I love it. Okay, that's people. And what'll happen is, you have all these people sitting here on the bar, but the run, this is say there's a run right here, and it's going out that way, right? What you'll have is this run here will start to migrate this way and run all the way down the beach. And it'll stop here running, and it'll run all off the bar. So it's called a running run. I've seen it happen. I'm not making this up.
Yeah, where the rip kind of just like.
So you got all these people, right? So all of a sudden, you got a sandbar, people in the back, and this thing just goes from one end of the beach to the other. Yeah. And it's a weird thing, and all these people get in trouble. And then they get in trouble. I'm sorry, go ahead.
On days like on bigger days where you have just in general a lot of water moving across the bar, you'll get like those flash rips, just like in the middle of the sandbar, it'll start pulling. Right. And then it'll open up for 15 seconds. Right. And make your life a living hell, and then just close up and be like, peace out.
Because you see somebody all of a sudden they get in trouble. Mm-hmm. You're standing up, you're getting your shit off. You got to run along the beach, swim through the gully, go over the bar, and save them. But the time you get out there, a lot of times I've got out there and the guy's standing there, back on the bar, and while I'm watching him in the binoculars, he's drowning. He's going down for the count. I mean, it happened that quick, and then you can't wait. And the time I get out there, he's like, "What are you doing out here?" And that's like you said, it's a nightmare. Yeah. So that's a good thing. I think that's why it takes like at least 5 years, in my opinion, to become at least acquainted with the water and understanding it.
All right. So we. Some somber discussions today, but we want to change the mood for a better with your quiz for this week.
All right, let me see. I just got a text from Timmy. Let me just see here. Hang on.
What's Tim got to say?
Women washed up. Also, I saw the video the other day. You guys launched your wave runner. It looks like you have one of the new Bigfoot trailers.
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
No. So we'll read that text later.
All right, good. All right,
it's time for your quiz.
All right, okay, give me a quiz, and then let's practice in. It's already an hour, so I'm running on steam here.
Question.
I operate all night.
1.
Okay, give me a question. This is.
These
are you smarter?
We gotta be careful.
That's basically what we shoot for.
Are you smarter than a fish?
Yeah, am I smarter than a fish? By the way, listen. This little girl came up to me today. Talk about that real quick. She had a bone with teeth on it, right? And she goes, "What kind of fish is this?" The teeth were all flat, not like a meat eater. Yeah. And I don't think it was a fish. I think it might have been like a jawbone of a cow or something that like.
I think dolphins have kind of flat teeth.
I don't know. No, I don't know. That's good. I don't know. I said to her, I told her.
Speaking of dolphins, we're kind of.
Okay, so give me a question, which
Question number 1.
Dude, don't give anything away.
Question number 1.
Yeah, I don't think this is a dolphin.
This animal is considered one of the apex predators of the world's oceans. It can be identified by its trademark black and white pattern.
Oh, it's orca.
Ding, ding, ding.
The orca, or the killer whale, or Orcinus orca. It can grow up to 32 feet long and weigh as much as 7 tons. Now, this is as much as a school bus, an African bull, or an African bull elephant, Also, the blue whale, which is the world's largest animal, can weigh up to 150 tons. So 1 for 1. Good job, Cat. All right.
Nailed it.
Number 2.
Or this is politically incorrect. An intoxicated, angry ex-girlfriend.
Yes. Or an orca weighs.
Trust me, I can tell you.
An orca weighs about 2,000 sea bobs.
Yeah.
Did you do that math?
No.
Oh.
All right,
I figure
good.
they're about 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Give us another one.
Ready? What action exerts more force? An uppercut from UFC heavyweight champion Francis the Predator Ngannou, a Ferrari F430 traveling at 196 miles per hour, or an orca breaching the ocean's surface?
Oh, I would say the orca.
You would say the orca?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
here's the breakdown. Number 1 is Francis Ngannou's punch was registered at
Wow.
15,000
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
When we were
newtons.
doing this, we couldn't believe that.
It is the equivalent of a 12-pound sledgehammer hitting you in the chest.
So I think before you go for the next two, because we care about the orcas here,
Right.
it has to be something to do with the surface area of the punch being like such a small surface,
Yeah,
while the car
yeah.
and the orca are so big.
Science.
Right.
Science. We're not scientists.
How's your lateral lisp?
My lateral lisp. All right.
All
What
right,
is next?
So Francis Ngannou has the hardest punch, 15,000 newtons. Coming in second place, a 7,000-pound orca at 30 miles per hour generates
Which is their top speed.
5,500 newtons when it breaks the surface of the ocean. They are known to jump up to 15 feet out of the water.
And then
Imagine a school bus jumping
Yeah.
15 feet out of the water.
Yeah.
And coming in at number 3 is a Ferrari going 196 miles per hour generates 2,500 newtons. I wonder how much. We should have looked into this in more detail because I've been obsessed with orcas over the last week. Obviously, ask my every stand partner I've sat with.
And penis-shaped sandbars.
Yes, and also orcas' penises. Can you believe that?
Let me ask you this though. You talk about force and everything. Think about this. What does a gallon of water weigh? A gallon of
The
ocean
same as a
water.
gallon of
Very
milk.
light.
No. Actually, water and gasoline and different fluids weigh
Yeah,
different.
water is
But what-
very dense.
But what do you think? Rough
Isn't
lift.
it,
It's
isn't
an
it
average.
roughly like 15 pounds?
No, I think it's about eight pounds,
8
per
pounds.
gallon.
Yeah.
Think about a gallon. You know, it's about, if you look at it, I mean, it's
Water is heavy.
So if you get hit by a 6-foot wave, I mean,
You're
think
getting
about
smacked.
8 pounds. I mean, so that's about that much is 8 pounds. And multiply that. You're
Well,
getting.
have you ever stood under the bucket thing at like the water park?
Oh,
The bucket
yeah.
that
Oh, yeah,
fills
yeah,
up.
yeah,
If you're not ready,
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
drop
Hurts,
you.
dude.
Yeah.
Feels like getting slapped by a million tiny hands.
That's what I'm saying. You know, you get hit by waves. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very powerful.
But another interesting thing I picked up about these orcas is that a great, and I don't know the exact number, so I'm going to do like an estimate, but let's say a great white's bite force is 10 on
Right.
whatever scale.
Right.
And orcas is like 150 on that same scale.
Wow.
Their bite
Yeah.
force is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You ready for the next question?
Yeah, get it.
Okay.
Number
Oh.
3.
This is number 3, but for some reason in my computer it's labeled number 5.
All right, continue.
A group of orcas is referred to as a pod. Although orcas can be found in all of the world's oceans, the best studied and most well understood populations exist in the Pacific Northwest oceans. So like up by like Alaska and
Yeah.
Northern California.
Seattle. up
These
that way.
populations typically exist within 3 different types of these pods. Can you name the types of those pods?
Oh, no idea.
Yeah, what do you mean?
No idea.
No
idea.
guesses?
Jewel.
So
Jewel pod. No?
Pod racer?
Pod
You're a
racer.
pod
Pods?
racer? You're a Star Wars guy. All right, so we know that orcas are extremely social animals. We know that they even regionally speak different languages.
Seals? What is seals?
Like, an orca from Russia, for example, isn't going to understand what an orca from, Staten Island's saying.
Right.
This
right.
orca with his Staten Island
Oh,
accent.
yeah, they speak
Right.
different
They
languages.
speak different
around-
languages.
Oh, okay.
We don't. First of all, we have no idea what they're saying because what
Right.
they're saying is so complex, right?
Right.
Also, these language differences exist when you separate what type of pod these orcas live in. They live in different styles of communities. You know, the same way how, you know, one day you're gonna live in maybe a nursing home.
Right. What do they call it?
You know,
So what do they call it?
people live in apartments. So they have the first pod is called a resident pod, and this is a pod that's like a big community. Okay.
Right.
These orcas stay mostly inland or in coastal waters, so
Right.
in like a big bay.
Right.
Feeding on specifically Chinook salmon is what they like to eat.
Ooh.
And
I
they
like
are
salmon.
large and very social and vocal with each other.
Right.
This is a resident pod.
Right.
Then you have transient pods, and these are like your lone wolf kind of people, and they're a lot smaller. They feed mostly on marine animals, and transient orcas move north and south along the coast from southeast Alaska and British Columbia as far south as Southern California, and they frequently make forays into the Salish Sea, which I don't know what that is. Salishc. I've never heard of that. But
Yeah.
what's interesting about these orcas is they travel in much smaller packs.
Right,
This will
right,
be
right.
3 or 4 orcas, and they're much less vocal. They don't talk to each other
Right, and what's
as
the
much
la-
as these big communities.
And what's the last one?
The last one is an offshore pod. This third population inhabits water well beyond the coast, and that's basically all we know about them. Recent observations show that sharks are actually a large part of their diet. And another interesting thing I found is that orcas, they develop very interesting hunting techniques, and
Yeah.
culturally they're different between pods that live in different parts of the ocean. You know, for example, there's a certain type of orca that will beach themselves to eat at seals.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also,
Yeah, I've seen that.
what's even more
I've seen that,
interesting, and just for anyone who's interested, I'm pulling a lot of this information from a video I watched called The Insane Biology of Orcas. You can find it on YouTube. It's like a 30-minute video. What's interesting about that is that it takes years of practice to master this technique, because you're beaching yourself. Like, if you don't know how to get back into the water, you're going to die. So you'll see these adult orcas coaching younger orcas,
Right.
and
I've
they'll
seen that.
even use like dummy targets. Like, they'll throw
Yeah.
some seaweed on the
Yeah.
beach and have these baby orcas try to go get it. So what they have figured out how to hunt great whites by getting the great white flipped on its back so it basically suffocates, and then that's how they kill it. These great whites that have had close encounters with orcas are known to leave their hunting grounds for over a year. They're so scared of orcas.
Yeah, that's their main predator.
Yeah.
Well, human beings.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that
they're
was that one. Are you ready for your next one, or do you have any comment on that question?
One more, and then we got to pack it. I'm fading, man.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, but I'm tired.
All right, orcas.
I got like 3 hours sleep last night.
So did Nico.
Yeah.
Orcas are able to differentiate between specific types of fish based on this unique ability.
Oh, they're sonar or yeah.
Echolocation.
Yeah. Right.
Orcas are able to differentiate between different versions of the same species based on how their sound waves bounce off the swim bladder of certain fish. So this
Yeah.
is how those northwest
Yeah, 'cause it's air.
resident
Yeah.
pods find
Yeah.
the Chinook salmon.
Yeah.
And even in areas where that salmon is way less common than maybe other more
Yeah.
plentiful,
Yeah.
they'll seek out this Chinook salmon because that's what they want to eat. It's like a tasty little snack for them.
Yeah, you could hear around here, you could hear the clicking noise of the dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And last question, are orcas dolphins?
are they dolphins? Well, there's I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what dolphin or porpoise. What's the difference? I always get them confused. You know, dolphins and porpoise. One is a.
I think a porpoise is a type of dolphin.
Well, they had the mahi. You know, so they're actually real dolphins.
but that's a fish. A mahi-mahi is a fish. That's dolphin
yeah,
fish.
these are mammals.
Yeah.
So what was the question? Are they?
Is an orca a dolphin?
I know they're mammals, so I don't know what the answer. I don't know what to say. I would say yes.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
They're the largest dolphin. And bonus question, you want to take a guess on how long they can live?
I would say 30 years.
50 to 80 years.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
They're pretty freaking incredible
Wow,
animals.
that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's great. That's great. That's some great thing. I've seen. I've never. I don't think I've ever seen them in the ocean, but when I was down in SeaWorld, many years ago. I don't think they have them anymore.
They do. I don't know about SeaWorld, but there are like 50, we looked it up. There are like 50 in captivity around the world.
And I watched the shows, man. They're unbelievable.
There's this guy, Phil DeMar. Sean, do you know about him?
Walrus Whisperer.
Yeah. He worked at Marineland.
Yeah, he worked somewhere.
He worked at this place called Marineland in Canada. He's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of times, but he's basically made that his life's fight. Is getting these captive marine mammals specifically, like saved and like to help stop that practice.
Well, I was down in when they had the shows and they were unbelievable. Now they don't have them anymore because they stopped doing it. And
it is pretty cruel if you really think about it.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Well, you gotta think like those things are arguably as smart as we are, probably smarter in different ways. Imagine like you're an animal that's meant to roam.
Did you ever have a pet pig? They're pretty smart too. Seriously.
Never had a pet pig.
Yeah, but like my pet dog, I can run and like it can reach full stride. That whale never can.
Yeah. Well, people eat
and
dogs
that's why
too.
you see their fins, like orcas in captivity. You see their fins; they fold on themselves because it's not like. It's a muscle that's not being exercised,
Yeah. No, I tell you.
Like,
you know what, Cashmore? If you support orcas in captivity, you support obesity.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. If you get hungry,
I'm gonna make that connection.
If I get hungry, I'll eat one. If I get hungry, I'll eat one of those orcas.
Cashmore supports.
They eat. What about the poor Chinook
living.
they eat and the poor seals and the great whites? What about that?
Oh yeah, the
poor
great
whites.
They're eating those poor things. What about the poor great whites?
No, I'm all about the circle of life.
Yeah, circle.
We're disrupting it by keeping the orca in captivity.
Listen, if I was, if we were Indians, I would cut your heart out and eat it, and then I'd get your soul.
You wouldn't have a chance.
Imagine being scalped.
Yeah, no. Listen,
I saw a video of a monkey scalping a human. That'd
be sick.
Messed.
All right, that's enough.
We'll save that for next week.
Everybody, this was a great show. Listen,
thanks for watching, people.
Our prayers and condolences go out to all the families who lost loved ones this week. The tragedy up in Bayonne. I mean, I grew up there. I just can't imagine the family losing 2 children. And that's just they go into a pool and then they're dead. And the family from Maine who came down, their son was buried basically alive in a hole, and it's just sad. And I just wish we could have been there and prevented these things. That's our job. That's our life. That's our passion, and we take it very hard when somebody drowns or dies on the beach because we spend a tremendous amount of time trying to prevent that. Anyway, thank you for listening. Sean, you want to say goodbye?
Oh, want me to do it?
Well, not yet. Just want
goodbye, guys.
We'll get you back.
I would have done the thing.
I would have done it. On Instagram at lg.association. Shoot us an email at drcatchmore@icloud.com or lifeguardsoffduty@gmail.com. Visit Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center where probably gonna have shirts up soon. Keep you updated on that.
Yeah, we're waiting. They're being developed right now, the colors and everything, and we have. I can't wait to get them. But
Cashmore, do you know about our new button? Sorry, this is like a last minute thing. Second row, third down.
Second row.
No. Of the
second row, third down.
Second row, third down.
Second row.
This third
One
down.
of those.
Nothing's but that's.
Oh, you got it off. Okay, never mind.
No, I could do here. Wait a minute, hang on. You don't got nothing. There's nothing there.
This is just a last minute snack.
Okay,
for
which
everybody.
one?
I think it's that one. The lighter one. Yeah.
This one?
I got you, seagulls.
Oh, wait, let me get rid of this one. Hang on.
if you ever want. I got
Audible, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Facebook, Google Play, Spotify, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Call us. Somebody please call us while we're on air. We'd love to talk to you.
Sean, you want to give us an out?
Guys, stay out and stay alive.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Take us out, Tyler.
Do you guys want to see Joe Casino?
No, take us out.
Cap wants to know if you know Joe Casino.
Take us out.
Stay out.
Take us out.
And
that's the former